DCT certificate and diploma programs all offer an internship at the end of the year of study. The internship is a really important part of the program, and this year we were faced with a really unique challenge because of the pandemic. The students were working from home and the hotel industry was closed down, so we had to think how we could do this differently.
It became quite clear that we would have to be brave and come up with some other innovative solutions. And we started to think about how we could plan for virtual internships. We had every intention to make sure that every single student that studies with us could complete their academic year as they had planned.
We went back to the drawing board and thought about what an in-person internship normally intends to achieve. And there were three main things. One is to put into practice all the skills and knowledge that the students learn throughout the year. The second is for them to get used to a work environment. And the third is networking. And we kind of use that as a starting point of how we could do things virtually.
In a physical internship, a student would go to their place of work and do a full 8 to 9 hours work every day. And we wanted to be sure that we replicated that intensity and that real place of work and that real feeling of responsibility.
We knew we needed a really great partner in the industry. And so we reached out to our partner Hilton. It's an amazing brand, it's something all the students were familiar with and aspire to work in, and reached out to their leadership team to discuss how we might move things forward.
You know, COVID has impacted everybody globally, and hospitality and education similarly have been affected. So it has been really remarkable to see the innovation and the creativity, you know, of every industry and during this COVID crisis. And one of the outshots of the COVID for our industry actually was something which was unique, which I think is probably the first virtual internship I think that I know in my career, in my time, has ever taken place. Which was to do a virtual internship, and we've been very honoured to be associated with the College of Tourism. And I think the most important thing is to give students who are you know, basically the ones who are sadly been suffering from this, an opportunity still to experience an internship. So we agreed to do internships in culinary and also in operations.
Hilton absolutely amazingly operating across the globe with 5,500 plus hotels, multi-brands. We count a total of 18 brands globally, but more importantly within the UAE, a very strong presence. And Hilton as one brand obviously carries the same as Hilton Garden Inn, the Canapé at Al Seef where we sit today, the Curio brand, Waldorf Astoria, the Conrad. So we obviously have a great arena of different style of hotels. So we've contacted a selected amount of executive chefs, of directors of operations, to see if they're interested to be ultimately their mentors throughout the internship. And within actually 24 hours, I've had two handful of individuals which come and work in the industry for the last 15, 20 years, step forward obviously to be their mentors. And that's when the journey started.
So they worked with a different executive chef every week for 4 weeks. At the beginning of the week, the chef would set a challenge, and this was done online. And the challenge would be, for example, come up with a Korean street food dish. The students would go away, they would research, they would come up with a recipe, a workflow plan, and share this with the chef. They would meet the chef virtually twice a day, every day for that week, and get group and individual feedback. As the week progressed, they would move on to taking photographs of their practicing cooking that dish from their own kitchens. And then at the end of the week, they would put together a short video of the whole process from start to finish of the dish creation. This would also allow them to practice their marketing skills.
Obviously, COVID was shaking us up a little bit, because we had to do many things very, very different than you would have usually done, especially when you go into cooking internship or serving or going into the different scenarios into real life. It's not as easy than just putting it, it's not as easy putting it on a camera than it would be in real life. However, the experience was just absolutely remarkable.
Our senior executive chefs were really blown away by the enthusiasm and by the skills of these young ladies and gentlemen who obviously have a passion for cooking. And definitely they are going to be in our hotels doing an actual practical internship as soon as we possibly can.
The hospitality students were split into groups of 3, and each group worked with a leader from the Hilton hotel, be that a GM or a cluster manager, for example. They would meet with their manager every day, at least twice a day, and they were tasked with using an online platform called Sesame, which is a simulation program of how to run a hotel.
We actually coupled the students with 4 of our directors from different capacities in a hotel. So we had our directors of business development and commercial, we had a human resources director, we had an operations director, and we had a general manager as mentors for small groups of students. Where each day they had like a morning briefing. They had to go away for the day and strategize how they're going to manage the business, how they're actually going to set the rates, what they're going to sell in the outlets, you know, who their target audience is, what marketing they're going to do. And the next day they had a mini profit and loss to see how they performed against each other. And that's great, because that's the reality of business, right? You're competing.
The quality of our partners and the value of those brands on the student's CV was really recognized by the students and their families. This is not something that any other university was able to offer during this time.
There are pros and cons from a virtual internship to a physical internship. Of course, you know, a chef would still love to be in the kitchen with their fellow chefs, having the camaraderie of a kitchen, learning from other professionals. There are huge benefits to that, and we would love to see that happen. Likewise, I'm sure many of our hospitality students would love to be in a hotel and operating things on the front line, welcoming guests and doing what great hoteliers do. However, if we are asked to operate within the parameters of the guidelines, then we will make virtual internships happen for the benefit of our students. All
the team at the Dubai College of Tourism, you know, just wonderful partners that we've worked with. And a big thank you also to the students. You know, to do a virtual internship took a lot of discipline. It's not easy, you know, to be doing such virtual, you know, man hours. They were spending a lot of time actually online. They did a fantastic job, and we really look forward to welcome the students into our hotels, as you know, we're thankfully opening up again for business and for guests. So a big thank you to everybody.
In my view, in the future, internships should continue to reflect the reality of what's going on in the industry. If that is in a world where the new normal is to be online, then I don't see there being an issue with internships continuing to be virtual. In fact, online internships could provide new opportunities. For example, for global internships, where students are interning with, for example, Hilton London, but based here in Dubai.